Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. One person is dead after a crash out in McFarland. It happened just after 3:30 this morning on Highway 43 near Sherwood Avenue. California Highway Patrol and Kern County Fire responded to the scene. CHP says a BMW did not yield to a Dodge pickup at the intersection, causing the two to slam into each other. Both of those vehicles ended up in an irrigation ditch, partially submerged. The driver of the BMW died. The driver of that truck was not injured. CHP says they do not believe the driver of the truck was under the influence. Officers are asking for anyone who witnessed that crash to call the Bakersfield CHP office. And police are investigating a shooting on Highway 99 in McFarland. According to officers, it happened late last night near Sherwood Avenue off-ramp. McFarland police officers say they're investigating a shooting, but it's unclear if anyone was wounded. They are asking for your help. If you have any information, call police at 792-2121. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is streaming live today to give an update on the coronavirus crisis in our state. Now, we are waiting for him to take the podium, and we will bring him to you as soon as he becomes available. In the meantime, now let's go to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Kern Public Health confirms 118 new cases, along with one death. Our total death toll stands at 65. We're over 4,300 cases now. Of those cases, more than 3,000 have recovered already. Over 1,000 are isolated at home, but 71 are isolating in the hospital. Almost 50,000 residents have tested negative for the virus. 701 tests are still pending. Well, the county announced a new tip line specifically for people to voice their concerns about local nursing facilities. That number is 868-0555. The county says at least 29 of the people who have died from COVID-19 have been residents of nursing homes, an issue we have covered extensively, particularly one facility, Kingston Healthcare. The county's emergency services manager, Georgiana Armstrong, says until now, the county has not heard enough from the people who are actually inside of these homes.
But we recognize now that a key stakeholder group is not represented, and that would be residents in these facilities and their families and the staff working at these facilities.
Armstrong says they want to hear suggestions and concerns about what should be done in these facilities. Armstrong says they will only have an email address for you to contact and will announce it next week. Well, County Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop said businesses need to do more to get customers to put on face masks to slow the spread of coronavirus. Alsop suggested businesses should put up signs and be firm with customers who don't want to cover their faces.
It's an easy thing to do. Post a sign on the door. No shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service.
The county has not formally made any moves to require masks beyond the governor's mandate. Well, Village Fest will not happen this year over concerns of the COVID-19 pandemic. That announcement was made today after a unanimous vote to cancel the event. The annual event is typically held in September and draws thousands every year to sample products from breweries, wineries, and restaurants. The festival is a major fundraiser for Children's Advocates Resource Endowment, which is a local nonprofit that raises money to award grants to other nonprofit groups specializing in serving children. According to the executive director of the Kern County Museum, where that event is typically held, they will lose roughly $40,000 in retail fees and revenue sharing from that event cancellation. Now, we do have Governor Gavin Newsom ready to speak. Let's send it over to him right now and hear what he has to say.
That is here at this remarkable Tri-Tool facility and warehouse in Northern California for the privilege of their time and tour and an announcement we'll be making related to manufacturing support within the industry, focusing on California-based manufacturing. I'll do that just in a moment. I wanted to first, though, begin by updating all of you on the numbers of and trend lines related to COVID-19. I want to make an announcement about one particular county here in the state of California, and then we will introduce this formal partnership with the California Manufacturing and Technology Association in partnership with GoBiz, our state business arm, and Cal OES, our operations of emergency service team. But first, let me just begin with the top line, and that is the total number of new positive cases here in the state of California over the last 24 hours. We report today some 4,890 individuals tested positive for COVID-19. Tragically, we lost 79 lives in the last reporting period, and we have seen a modest increase both in hospitalizations and total number of ICU patients in the state. Hospitalizations went up some 3.3% in the last 24 hours. ICU patient volume went up 4.4%. As I've been doing over the course of the last number of days, we have been marking trend lines that increasingly are headlines across the nation as it relates to positivity rates in the state of California. And I'll remind everybody that positivity rates become foundational as we increase the total number of tests. And remember, just a day or so ago, we announced over 101,000 tests that were completed in a 24-hour period in the state of California. As we increase tests in the state of California, naturally, we are going to see an increased number and total number of individuals that test positive. It becomes, though, important that we look at positivity rates. That's the percentage of those that we test that test positive to really give us a sign, an indication of what we refer to as community spread.
You just heard the latest from Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, he is talking about the coronavirus here in our state of California. Now, he did mention as of today, 4,890 individuals have tested positive throughout the state. 79 lives have lost. Now, we have seen an increase in hospitalizations and ICUs. 3.3% is up for hospitalization and 4.4% in the ICU. Now, you can continue watching Governor Newsom's whole live stream on our Facebook page and on our website, kget.com. Well, Bakersfield Congressman and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy was asked by a reporter during a news conference yesterday what he thought about the president calling the coronavirus by controversial names.
The president has been describing the coronavirus. He's been calling it the Kung flu. Do you think that's an appropriate way to characterize the coronavirus?
Do you think that's the most pressing issue you have about the coronavirus?
Think about that.
I know, but what I'm thinking about is why that is your most pressing issue as a question.
Well,
when we just seen a spike in coronavirus, you're concerned about somebody and the way they name it. That's appalling to me. You know what? I think we should all focus, learn more about this disease, and stop this virus. But every time I've come here, you've always had those type of questions. It's interesting to me if that's what your viewers care most about. Because you know what my constituents care most about? Their safety and their health. And if you want to debate what's it called and what's it not, that's not what they're debating. They want to make sure they see a vaccine for it, and that's what we're moving towards. Therapies for it, and you see great movement. We've done things this country has never done when it comes to the FDA and others. So no, that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the safety of Americans, and that's what I look forward to.
Testing be ramped up.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, as businesses start to reopen, you may be feeling the need to get out of the house and catch a movie. Well, now you can. Here's a look at some of the changes movie theaters are implementing right now. No more watching boring old reruns at home. You can now catch the latest film hitting the theater right now. Theaters received the green light to reopen their doors about 2 weeks ago, but they've been hard at work training and cleaning the facility to make sure you're safe and comfortable.
We've done so much. We've been working so hard to make the community safe, including our team members.
So what changes can you expect to see if you're planning on catching a film on the big screen? Don't expect a full house. Theaters have cut their capacity to only 25%.
You won't be next to your neighbors that are close, because anytime you buy some seats, there'll be 2 seats taken. That way it gives you that 6 feet of distance.
Also, no more refillable tubs of popcorn, access to the soda fountain or the condiment bar. Employees at Studio Movie Grill have been working around the clock, ensuring theaters are meeting strict guidelines. It's a continual process.
It's ongoing, and it still is. We just had our team meeting not too long ago today, going over some of the major details that we're doing as far as implementing the structures of how we're going to go in each theater, clean detail from head to toe, all the way through the theater to ensure when guests come in, movie after movie after movie, that they have a clean space and that everything is done correctly.
After months in quarantine, this may be the perfect way to get the family out in a safe and sanitized environment.
Come in here, share a great meal, enjoy the popcorn that I'm sure a lot of people have missed, and have a great time.
Now, Studio Movie Grill opens their doors today at 3 p.m. and Maya Cinema will reopen on July 1st.
And it will be tempting to get out and maybe try to cool down this weekend with a pool party or somewhere out the river. Just do it social distancing wise and just make sure you stay safe out there. We've got a few clouds in the distance, and that's all we're going to see today. We are expecting to maybe see a few isolated thunderstorms north of the Kern County area. 94 in Bakersfield right now, 90 in Delano, 91 out in Wasco, and then we have 80s and 90s into the mountains. Tehachapi at 86, 93 for Lake Isabella, and we're pushing 100 up into Ridgecrest. And you can see here on the satellite and radar, nothing for us into Kern County right now. You can see just north of us, there is some cumulus buildup like we saw yesterday as this system continues to head south and east throughout the day. So there is a slight risk of a thunderstorm in there. But again, I think it'll be remaining north and east of us. 97 in Sacramento today, Fresno at 104, 70 south, 96 in Vegas, and 108 in Phoenix this afternoon. The beach is actually looking great this afternoon. 67 degrees, a light southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. This ridge will amplify a little bit heading into tomorrow, so we will see a little warm up, but then we're going to get some cooler air to come out of the north, and that's going to help us starting Sunday. So there is relief in sight for all of us. The thunderstorm forecast still keeping it right here near the Kern River Valley, the northeast quadrant of Kern County, and areas to the north and east of us. And Nevada could see some thunderstorms today as well. On the national front, take a look at the numbers. 78 in Seattle, 87 in Salt Lake, Denver warm at 81, and we're looking at 70s, 80s, and 90s up into the northeast. D.C. today at 90. Here's a look at our forecast this afternoon. We'll look at 102 in Bakersfield, 103 in McFarland and Delano. Taft at 101. For the mountains in the Kern River Valley, a west wind 10 to 20. 88 in Frazier Park, 85 in Bear Valley Springs with 90s into the Kern River Valley, 96 for Lake Isabella, 97 in Kernville. Again, we put a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in there, but again, I really think we're going to escape that. And then for the desert, 104 in Ridgecrest, 98 in Mojave. Your extended forecast, there's that peak tomorrow at 105, and then we get the cool down, 93 on Sunday, 80s on Monday, but that'll be short-lived. We're right back in the upper 90s by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. For the mountains, tomorrow, lower 90s, and then a big cool down near 70 and breezy on Monday, and then the 80s return Wednesday and Thursday. And then for the Kern River Valley, upper 90s tomorrow, but then you also get a cool down in the Kern River Valley, upper 70s for Monday. And then, yes, you're also going to warm back up into those 90s as we approach Wednesday. Have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll send it back over to you.
Well, today marks 5 years since a Bakersfield police officer died in a vehicle pursuit. Back on June 26, 2015, Officer David Joseph Nelson was involved in a vehicle pursuit. The pursuit unfolded after Officer Nelson made a traffic stop on an unlicensed vehicle. Nelson's car went off the roadway, striking a utility pole and a retaining wall at the intersection of Panorama Drive and Mount Vernon Avenue. He was transported to the hospital where he later died. He is survived by his parents, Larry and Mary Nelson, and two brothers, Eric and Michael Nelson. Well, as we reported Wednesday, the Bakersfield City Council unanimously approved a $628 million budget. But community members who pushed for defunding the police department vow their fight isn't over.
Motion is unanimously approved.
That was the moment the City Council officially approved the fiscal year 2020-21 $628 million budget on Wednesday, a budget which allocates $120 million for the police department. That's a 10% increase from the previous year. Thanks to Measure N, the budget funds 44 new BPD positions, including an additional 29 sworn officers. Well, via Zoom Thursday, a reaction to that vote.
Of course, we're disappointed. I think that we've been disappointed. I think that we just have to keep moving forward with our organizing.
City Manager Christian Clegg says $25 million is allocated for homelessness, housing, and economic development, another $14.5 million for local parks, and on policing.
In this proposed budget, there's a new lieutenant that's going to be, they're going to have a working title of the Chief Adjutant, and that person is going to be dedicated solely to community engagement. Chief is restructuring his command staff to create a new unit. It's going to have 9 people in it. And these 9 people are...
Clegg also says a part of the $500,000 investment, the budget focuses on diversity recruitment. Well, the Kern County Sheriff's Office will start randomly drug testing employees. KCSO and the Kern County Detentions Officer Association reached an agreement on that decision. In that agreement, it allows KCSO to randomly test 3% of its employees twice a year. KCDOA is now in participation of those testings too. The House of Representatives used its Democratic majority late Thursday to pass a police reform bill in honor of George Floyd. The vote passed 236 to 181, with all 233 Democrats and 3 Republicans voting yes. The bill is called the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act of 2020. Floyd died after a Minneapolis police officer placed his knee on Floyd's neck while in custody back in May. The bill prohibits racial profiling, increases accountability for police misconduct, and bans chokeholds and no-knock warrants on the federal level, among other measures. Some insiders say the bill won't get through that Senate. Well, the Minneapolis City Council took one more step today towards dismantling the city's police department. The City Council unanimously approved a proposal to delete the words police department from the city charter in favor of a Department of Community Safety and Violence Prevention. The new department would focus on a holistic, public health-oriented approach, but still allow for licensed peace officers. Today's vote suspended normal rules to change the city charter, but more hurdles need to be cleared to get the proposal on the November ballot when residents can have the final say. The Minneapolis police force has come under some heavy criticism since George Floyd died in police custody on May 25th. Well, in your court watch now, today, one of the 2 men accused of hurting Bakersfield police officers with rocks at a recent protest pleads not guilty. BPD says it happened on June 1st. They say Avion Hunter and Andreas Garcia threw rocks at officers during a protest. BPD says 3 of its officers were hurt by the rocks as they tried to break up a group of protesters. The men are charged with assault with a deadly weapon, unlawful assembly, and resisting arrest. Garcia is out on bail now. He's due next in court on July 17th for a preliminary hearing. Hunter pleaded not guilty earlier this month. And the woman accused of rubbing a hamburger bun on the floor and spitting on a burger before serving it to a police officer will be back in court on July 1st. Tatiana Hargrove worked at the McDonald's on Rosedale Highway near Allen Road. Now, we've obtained police reports that say another employee of the restaurant where she worked witnessed her actions. By the time the police were notified, the officer had already eaten some of that food. You may remember Hargrove was at the center of a high-profile case back in 2017. That's when 2 officers mistook Hargrove for a suspect, and she was bitten by a police canine. Hargrove said she had been thrown to the ground and punched by the officers. Hargrove sued the city of Bakersfield but lost that lawsuit. She'll be back in court for another hearing on those new charges. Hargrove is charged with a felony of mingling harmful substances with food or drink and a misdemeanor battery charge. The FIFA president made an announcement early this morning that the 2023 Women's World Cup is awarded to Australia and New Zealand. Australian and New Zealand's women's soccer players let out almighty roars, burst into applause, and pumped their fists in celebration after their country's joint bid for the 2023 Women's World Cup was confirmed. Both Football Federation Australia and New Zealand Football had emphasized the boost that hosting the tournament would provide for the development of the game in the Asian and Oceanic confederations.
Absolutely stoked. I mean, obviously coming in we were confident, but you kind of never know until it's confirmed. So, yeah, we're really happy, and obviously World Cup's coming home.